Hello, a new free VST plugin has been brought to my attention. It is the one you can see here on the screen. It's called the Experience FazioliF308, the famous Fazioli grant. And first of all, we will have a look what this is, and then I will play something, and then I will give my thoughts in the end. So I hope this will be not a very long video. And I think it's interesting what's written here. This page is the piano book page, .co.uk, which is a page where you can download free piano plugins. Maybe you didn't even know that. It's a pretty cool project. Sorry. So this instrument is from Dore Mark, you can see here. And I think it's really cool what he does. The instruments are very ambitious. The projects are very ambitious, I mean, the sampling projects, because I can feel he really shoots for the best quality in the business, basically, which is pretty crazy. And I just played a little bit on it, like 2 minutes. It's very good, I can say it immediately. It's the best free piano plugin I know of. But anyways, let's have a look here. So what's probably important to mention is that the F308 is a concert grant, as you can see here. It's a very long grant. So you need a big living room or space for it. And yeah, it's 10 feet. Fazioli only makes 140 pianos per year, and that is the longest and probably most expensive one. And we have some technical details here. So we have two perspectives, two recording perspectives, we can say. The audience and player perspective, I will play both, with 10 microphones, really a lot of microphones. And we have VR possibilities and velocity layers 5 and half pedaling. Half pedaling is nice, it's very useful. Actually, this whole download size is 4 gigabytes, so you need a little bit of space, preferably on SSD, of course. And 4 gigabytes for me feels, of course, it's comparatively small. VSL sometimes have hundreds of gigabytes, which need to be reserved on SSD, of course. But 4 gigabytes is it's also not like, 200 megabytes, like something on a cheap instrument or something. Anyway, so we have a audience perspective. Here, a pair of hand-built A87 claws. I think these are very famous microphones, very good microphones. I saw them used by other companies too, other sample grants. Sampletech, I think, uses them. And so over the soundboard, and then some a meter away and so on. So this is details about how the microphone, the miking works. And then we have player perspective. And now let us just have a look at the graphical user interface, this one here. So in my opinion, the picture is nice. It looks pretty high quality. It looks really high quality actually. So it's not like a blur of pixels. And also the experience and then the official Fazioli's design looks quite nice. And then we have some sliders here, which are the contact sliders. And we have just very rudimentary options like close mic, room mix, and then releases, samples, and then probably convolution reverb. Color is probably some high-low pass, and then or maybe also another convolution impulse, but and then half pedaling option. That's quite cool. We can choose between different MIDI values here. So it's kind of like when the half pedaling gets engaged or not. So I automatically choose wide because I have actual real pedal, so I can do that. So that's that. And then you have to register to the piano book site, but it's no problem at all. Then you can download that. And what else do we have? The presentation is nice. The storytelling was nice also. And now I think we can have a listen, we can have a look at the sound. So see you in the next part. I will just play some things. We'll put in the description what that was. So I'm back here with my final verdict. Sorry for all the mistakes in the playing, but this was more, of a demonstration of this instrument. And so I think to rate it, I will distinguish between rating it amongst all plugins that there are and among all those which are free. So let me start with the plugins that are free. I think the person who did this, what was the name again? Dore Mark did already an instrument which was also called the Experience, I think, or something like that, similar. It was a very good instrument. I did a video on my channel about that I think I even said like it's the best free instrument, which it was a more vintage sounding older grand. And this is a modern grand. So I think this grand sounds even a little bit better because the sound quality is better. So the the definition of the sound, the how clear it sounds more clear to my ears. Maybe because the microphones are better, with higher quality, so they can capture more of that string sound, those vibrations. And yeah, I think it is the best piano with that other one, which was probably the predecessor or whatever. Now comparing it with all plugins I have, and I have a lot of plugins. I have basically most of the industry standard plugins from PSL, from Garrison, and other things. I would say that this instrument is very good. Like it's definitely better than plugins that I have that cost money. It is not as good as the AAA plugins. I would say AAA plugins are something like Ravenscroft, like the Garrison CFX, the VSL. I mean, this is a little bit crazy to say something like that because some of these cost $500. But as I said, we are now really just showing off how great this is for a free instrument, honestly. And then I will also say why I think it's not at this league. It's the best from the frees I've ever played when you compare it to paid. And this is, again, really, think about that. We're talking about hundreds of dollars plugins. But now to the absolute aspects of this piano. As you can also hear in the sound demonstration, the sound quality is in general very high. It is the sound is it's not muddy, it's not badly EQ'd, there is no artifacts or errors in the sampling or things like that. It sounds very professional, it sounds very convincing. What I really like is the room sound. It totally, if you close your eyes, it sounds like you're sitting in the room. That's what I like about it. The immersion is good. And I think the audience perspective a little bit more. As for now, the player perspective is really quite direct. It's also nice. It's better for certain types of music. The stereo picture is a little bit narrow, but I don't need super huge stereo all the time, so it's fine for me. What else do we have? The pedaling is nice. It's typical contact pedaling, I would say. The general implementation is pretty good. Like the sample mapping is very, very good. I don't know if it's the best I've ever seen. It's kind of the thing also with the velocity layers. I mean, you can kind of tell that it's not huge amounts of velocity layers, but it still feels like it's very versatile in dynamic response and dynamic output. So if I compare it with other instruments I have, they are also, you have always your drawback, like you can make it better in the quiet things, but then it's difficult for loud things, and you will never find this perfect, except maybe Pianotech, which is the theoretical perfect solution. But otherwise, it's hard, and you have limitations. So the solution he chose for this is very good, I think. Especially, I mean, you have to really think about how grand this instrument is. Just how large and how loud the bass notes are. It's very hard to confine this huge instrument with a huge output like that to a sample instrument. It's much harder when it's so big, and that's why he did a really good job with that. And then what else do we have? So the playability is really good. It's a very, very good sample mapping, but that has been the case with this other instrument too. That was one of the best things about it. This time the sound quality is even a little bit better. Maybe where I noticed where I noticed that it's not like as good as Garriton or things like that is in the highs. This is the most difficult part for a microphone to capture it truthfully. When you go really to the highs, some notes, it feels like it makes a dip in sound quality, or it feels a little bit muddy. It doesn't have that just crispness. And I don't know what processing has been done on the samples, if there has been noise reduction, if there has been EQing or things like that. I don't know, but I don't have to know. What I can say is that some high notes have, and that is, I have many paid plugins which have also this problem. Tchaik, for example, I notice it with my headphones, or maybe I'm just sensitive to that, but it sounds a bit dull. On the other hand, what I really like is when you sustain the notes, then they have this nice aura and flavor around them. So this is probably because it sounds not perfectly tuned, like perfectly tuned. I mean, it's tuned, of course, but you can hear the Schwebungen in German. Don't know the English word. And the resonances are there. But I like when pianos sometimes have that, because most plugins we buy are so professional and they're freshly tuned. But actually, when you sit down on a piano on the grand, when I sit down on my actual piano, it doesn't sound, it's quite out of tune. And it doesn't have to be quite out of tune, but if it has a little bit resonance and a little bit flavor and character and individuality to it, then it's also nice, which this one has. Clearly, you can hear that in the Rebikov example in the end, where there is definitely this resonance in this high E flat major chord. And it ticks all boxes, which are crucial: the playability, the sound quality. I mean, I chose the Tchaikovsky in the beginning with a purpose. You can just hear, obviously, also to see what 10 feet of grand sound, what they sound like is very impressive, but also the quiet pieces show the Chopin that it has intricate storytelling. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say about this, and thank you for watching this video, and please support the creator and visit the website. I will put it in the description. I think it's a really cool project. Okay, see you next time.